Hello everybody, it's Coffee Morning with Carlos Morale, where I talk about a game based upon top secret criteria whilst drinking my morning coffee until my cup is dry. And today, we don't actually have a coffee of any sort. What we do have, in fact, is an oversized novelty dice. And, well, outside, it's a bit Mad Max, if I'm not, exaggerating the point a little too far. I mean, the sun has gone red, and the sky has gone red, and it could be the tail end of Hurricane Ophelia, or whipping up dust into the atmosphere, as it says on the BBC website, or it could be a sign of a forthcoming apocalypse. I mean, we might as well just carry on with things. If you can't watch this video as a result of nuclear annihilation or whatever, it was good seeing you, and perhaps I'll see you on the other side. In the meantime, though, let's try and focus on Battle Chasers Nightwar, which is today's video game full coverage. Now, what do I think about it? Don't know. Can't decide. Can't even tell you if I'm having fun or not 6 hours or so into the campaign. I wasn't even going to do a video on this game at all, and then it occurred to me that it is as good a review as anyone else is going to give the game if I explain my reasons for the shrugging of the shoulders and the non-committal noise that I just made. Now, I could do that in a cutesy 5 reasons for and against Battle Chasers style video, but you're better than that. You deserve much, much better. Number 1, it looks really good. It does. The art style is super interesting. If you've not come across the comic that it's based on, and I certainly haven't, it's immediately visually striking art style. Certainly in the cutscenes in the game, it's very impressive to look at. It's just pretty cool, the characters are well defined, each has their own, you could pick them out in silhouette, that kind of thing. You've got a girl with giant boxing gloves, an enormous robot, a boob lady. I mean, what more you could possibly want, I don't know. Although the actual in-dungeon graphics are pretty cool, and the cutscenes are, and the character portraits are excellent. The overworld map leaves a little bit to be desired. It's not the worst. It is clear and clean. You can see what's going on and navigate your way around the world quite easily. It's just not as visually impressive as the rest of the game, which is a bit of a shame, but still, on the list of video game crimes, it's not all that high up. It has depth to its turn-based experience. And it certainly does. Fighting is entirely turn-based, which is great. There are no quick time events or anything like that. You bash in and off you go. Each character has either actions or abilities that they can use alongside the usual items and limit break style things. Actions are used as your sort of standard attack, and they also help to build up bonus mana that you can use to cast your abilities. Your abilities are where you deal your major damage and do your healing, that kind of thing. Apply status effects for the most part, although some of those do come in actions too. And it's a balance between using those abilities to accrue extra mana and obviously, then dumping that mana into those abilities. That's going to see you win through for victory. When I say that it's got depth, there's a lot of status effects that can be applied to your enemies and to you. There's a lot of judging when in the order list you are going to be acting next, so that you're applying your buffs, debuffs at the right time, that you can have an effect whereby every time you deal damage to an enemy, you get a small amount of health back, which on its own isn't hugely useful, but when you couple it with a specific attack that does multiple hits for a small amount of damage, that's some good healing to you whilst still chipping away at your enemy's life total. So yeah, decent depth. The fighting sequences are pretty good. Number 3. It's so slow. Oh God, why? This has got to be my biggest gripe about the game. And it's something that sounds really minor, but it hugely impacted on my ability to enjoy it. When you're in dungeon, your characters move at the most miserably slow pace. They're animated like they're running as well, which makes it worse, right? It looks on the screen like they're running along, but they're trundling. And when you are trying to find a relatively hidden object or whatever, and you're having to move your way around the dungeon, it just can take an absolute age to get anywhere. Worse still is that if you want to save part way through a dungeon, that's perfectly fine. There are no sort of save points as such. But when you restart your game, you'll find that you are outside the dungeon. Enemies don't respawn, so if you want to get back to where you were, you have to walk at this ridiculously slow pace all the way back through the dungeon, needlessly. You know, it just takes forever. And one of your characters that you can employ has like a dash ability, and it's really tempting just to hammer the dash ability to sort of get you through quicker. Although you shouldn't do that, because the dash ability is for avoiding traps, and you dash into combat gives you a buff. So yeah, you just have to put up with the painfully slow movement. 4. The good old surprise bullshit and only one save slot. I've just beaten a particular dungeon, Junk Town, and came out of there looking to go back to town and restock. Usual sort of affair. There may well be a button that you can press to swap out your party members, but I didn't find that button. The one place I know that you definitely can do it is before you head into a dungeon or when you're in town. So what I did is I nicked back one blob on the overworld map to Junk Town in order to select the dungeon, change my party members out, so as I could walk back across the map. It dropped me into, I won't say a random encounter. It put an airship appeared from nowhere, and because I was on the same space as it initiated a fight with 3 creatures that were like, I think they were level 13 and I was level 10, 9 or 10. We just got smashed. Penalty for getting your party wiped is that you are dumped back in town having lost, I don't know if it's like a percentage of your overall gold. I assume it is. So I'd lost about 300 gold this time, and that's really annoying because gold is a difficult resource to get hold of. Why it would spawn a enemy that was so over leveled in an area that I've just beaten, I just don't understand. I found that very frustrating. So the one save slot thing is that, you know, if something like that happens, or if the game gives you a choice to make and you choose one way or the other. I had there was a robot, a dismantled robot that I found, and it gave me 2 options as to whether or not to give it a message of peace or a message of hatred and violence. I chose the peace message, which caused the robot to self-destruct, and it gave me some bits and pieces. I don't know what would have happened if I'd chosen the war message, because I made that decision and the game saved, and that was it. I think that RPG fans as a whole like to have multiple saves, right? So if you don't like your build, or you don't like the way that things are progressing, or you're not enjoying a particular character and you wish you'd leveled a different one, or whatever, you can go back to an earlier save and sort stuff out without having to restart the game. And that possibility isn't afforded to you in Battle Chasers, and I find that a little bit disappointing. Number 5, you collect a load of garbage as you're going around. So many collectibles that don't seem to do a damn thing, and they probably all do lots. There's a crafting element in Battle Chasers that requires all of this stuff that you pick up as you go around. How valuable or rare any particular item isn't really shown to you until you sort of unlock the crafting mat. So when you're short of gold, should you be selling one crafting thing or another? You don't know. It's a bit of a nightmare. So you end up just piling up endless stacks of I don't know what in an inventory that becomes very quickly unmanageable because it has so many different things in. And yes, although you can filter through them, still you're picking up an awful lot of stuff that doesn't seem to do a whole lot immediately. So when you get a weapon, that might be an upgrade, great. But very often in the dungeons, the weapons that you're getting are side grades at best. And it's only really once you beat a dungeon that you then are awarded with a significant upgrade. Or if you solve a particularly tricky puzzle. Yeah, it is a bit puzzle-licious. There's some lever puzzles and sliding doors and what have you to make your way through, but nothing particularly onerous. I think the dungeons are a fairly strong point of the game, even if they're not filled with anything particularly interesting. But number 6, I think it's just not grabbing me because it assumes too much familiarity with the source material. Like, an awful lot of stuff has definitely gone on in the story before the point where you come to play it. All the main characters know one another. They seem to have history and backstory, which isn't being fed out during the game. Maybe there are there are lore logs that you can read through, but no one wants to do that, right? You need it sort of spelt out to you in the game to an extent, and yeah, there's not a whole lot of that going on, and it's a bit like either you instantly warm to the characters or you don't, but I found them a bit cliche in most departments. You got the girl whose father passed on to her a magic item and said, go and save the world. You've got the man who's sworn to protect her. You've got the giant Healy robot that, if it was squishier, would be just like, oh, what's his name in Mighty Hero number 9? What was his name? Blah 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 blah. God, I don't know. I'm going to call him Balloony. And you've also got Booby Pirate, which I mean I don't understand her particularly, except it's Red Sonja. Cliche characters that I'm just not hugely interested in. So yeah, problematic. So maybe the good things are great for you and the bad things don't matter, or maybe the bad things are deal breakers and the good things are weak at best. I can't think for you. I can't think for you. Well, no, I can try. Hold on. Acquire coffee. Drink it. Be a happier, more outgoing person. Have confidence in your dealings with others. Be fitter, happier, more productive.
A pig in a cage on antibiotics.
Thanks ever so much for watching today's video on Battle Chasers Nightwar. I hope very much that you have enjoyed it, and if you have, please don't hesitate to leave a like somewhere where you found this video and consider sharing it amongst your friends and colleagues, co-workers, acquaintances, well-wishers, and heck, even your enemies. Hey, maybe you can turn an enemy into a friend. Thanks so much for watching, and I'm going to see you again next time.